The cold wind blew through the empty alley behind the alien medical center. Rain fell lightly from the sky, mixing with the blood on the dirty ground. The girl lay still, barely breathing. She was young. Her body was thin, bruised, and broken. Wires still stuck out from her arms. Her skin was pale purple, and her eyes were closed. Someone had dumped her there like trash. Two alien doctors walked out of the back door. One of them, tall and green-skinned, kicked the girl's leg gently with his boot. "She's not going to make it," he said. The other one shrugged. "We used the medicine. We tried. She's just too weak. Maybe it's her fault. Besides," the first one added, "she's not a full citizen. No need to report anything. Let nature take her." They laughed coldly and walked back inside. She didn't move, but just minutes later, footsteps echoed down the alley. A human man walked by, wearing a long coat and holding a bag of groceries. His name was Jackson. He wasn't a doctor or a soldier or anyone special. He just worked at a nearby mechanic shop. He paused when he saw something strange in the shadows. At first, he thought it was a broken machine, thrown out. But then he saw a hand, small fingers, a trembling breath. He dropped his bag and rushed over. "Hey," he called out. "Can you hear me?" He touched her forehead. Burning hot. Her clothes were torn. Her face was dirty. Her chest rose and fell in weak, shaky breaths. "Damn," Jackson whispered. "She's alive." He looked at the back door of the clinic. He knocked. No answer. He knocked again, louder. After a moment, a small metal door opened, and a voice spoke through the intercom. "What do you want? There's a girl here," Jackson shouted. "She needs help. We already checked." "She's not worth the meds," the voice replied coldly. "Go away." Jackson's jaw tightened. "She's breathing. You can't. Just leave her to die." "She's not our problem anymore," the voice snapped. Then the intercom went silent. Jackson stared at the door, then back at the girl. He looked around. No one else was coming. No one else cared. He couldn't walk away. Carefully, he picked her up in his arms. She was light, too light. Her head rested against his chest. Her breathing was weak, but still there. "It's okay," he whispered. "I've got you." People stared as he carried her through the streets. A merchant yelled, "Hey, you can't bring something like that here." Another laughed. "Did you find yourself a broken toy, human?" Jackson ignored them. He walked fast, trying to block the rain from hitting her face. He didn't know where to go. The hospital? No, they'd ask questions. They'd probably turn her away like the others. Then an idea hit him. The vet. It sounded crazy, but the vet helped wounded animals. Maybe they'd help her too. Jackson turned the corner and reached a small old building with a sign. Rizzo's veterinary clinic. He kicked the door. "Rizzo, open up." An old alien man opened the door a crack. He had one big eye and wore thick glasses. "It's late," the vet grumbled. "Come back. I need help," Jackson interrupted. "She's dying." The vet looked down and saw the girl in his arms. His eye narrowed. "That's not a dog or a cat, Jackson." "No," Jackson said. "But no one else will help her." The vet sighed. "Bring her in." Inside, the clinic smelled like medicine and wet fur. The vet cleared a table. Jackson laid her down gently. "She's still alive," Jackson said. "But barely." Rizzo touched her skin. "Fever, infection, blood loss. Who left her like this?" "Alien doctors," Jackson replied bitterly. "They said she's not worth saving." Rizzo shook his head. "Cold-hearted bastards." He pulled gloves on and opened his tools. "Can you help her?" Jackson asked. "I'll try," Rizzo said. "But this isn't going to be easy." He began working quickly. He cleaned the wounds. He gave her an injection. He checked her pulse. Jackson watched, tense. Suddenly, the girl twitched. Her hand moved. Her lips trembled. Rizzo looked at Jackson. "She's stronger than they thought." An hour passed. Finally, Rizzo stepped back. She lived through the night, he said. Jackson let out a breath. Thank you. She need rest, food, clean fluids, Rizzo continued. And someone to stay with her. I'll stay, Jackson said without hesitation. Rizzo looked at him for a long moment. You don't even know what she is. I don't care, Jackson said softly. She was left to die. I couldn't just walk away. Rizzo smiled slightly. You've got a strange heart, human. Jackson sat beside the table, watching the girl sleep. Her chest rose and fell, slowly but steadily. Outside, the wind still blew. The galaxy didn't notice that a life had been saved. But Jackson did, and he wasn't going to leave her. Not now. Not ever. Asterisk, she wasn't an animal. But no hospital wanted her. So Jackson ran through the rain holding the dying alien girl in his arms and headed to the only place left. The vet. The vet's clinic looked small and half-forgotten. A flickering neon sign buzzed above the rusty door. Rizzo's veterinary clinic. We fix pets, big or small. Jackson banged on the door with his elbow, trying not to drop her. Rizzo, open up, please. He could feel her pulse growing weaker. Her head lay limp against his chest. Her skin was burning with fever. Her chest rose only once, then didn't move. No, he muttered, patting her cheek. Stay with me, just a little longer. The door opened a crack. An old alien with wrinkled green skin and a giant eye peeked through. Jackson? What in the stars are you doing? Here at this hour? She's dying, Jackson said quickly. I need your help. The vet's eye shifted to the girl. That's not a dog, Rizzo said flatly. Not even close. I know, Jackson said. No one else would take her. The alien doctors dumped her like garbage. Rizzo frowned and opened the door wider. Inside, quickly. The clinic smelled like medicine, oil, and something burnt. Jackson laid the girl gently on the metal table. Her skin twitched under the bright lights. Rizzo examined her with quick, experienced hands. This is strange, the vet muttered. She's not a species I've treated before. She's not fully alien, Jackson whispered. Rizzo blinked. What? I don't know how to explain it, Jackson said. But when I held her, it didn't feel like holding something foreign. It felt like someone, like a person. Rizzo paused, then nodded slowly. That's enough reason to try. Rizzo began working fast. He scanned her body, inserted in 4-tube, attached a heart monitor. Her heart beat weakly slow, but still there. Her body was covered in bruises and strange needle marks. Her arms had metal scars, like something had been testing her over and over. What did they do to her? Jackson asked. Experiments, Rizzo replied softly. Look here, and here, she was used. Maybe for science, maybe something worse. The old vet shook his head. They didn't try to heal her. They tested her until her body gave up. Jackson clenched his fists. And then they just tossed her away. Monsters wear doctor coats too, Rizzo said. As Rizzo worked, the girl moved slightly. She made a sound, a soft, broken noise. Her eyes fluttered but didn't open. Her lips parted. Wah, she's waking up. Jackson leaned in. Can you hear me? Her fingers twitched. Her breath came faster. Tears rolled down the sides of her face, but her eyes stayed shut. She's scared. Jackson said. She's in pain, Rizzo added. But she's alive. That's what matters. Suddenly, something beeped. The scanner showed irregular cells, glowing, repairing, changing. Rizzo stared. What in the void? What is it? Jackson asked. Her body. It's healing. Faster than normal. Much faster. Her cells are regenerating by themselves. You mean, like super healing? Not just that, Rizzo said slowly. This kind of healing. It's like her body was built to survive death. Jackson looked down at her. Maybe that's why they wanted her. Maybe that's why they were testing her. Rizzo nodded. She's rare, dangerous even. To the wrong people. Outside something moved. A shadow passed the window. A soft whir of an engine in the distance. Rizzo turned off the lights quickly. Someone's looking for her, he said. Jackson looked at the door. Already? They might have trackers in her blood, Rizzo whispered. We need to remove them. Jackson took the vet's arm. Then do it. I'll stand guard. Minutes felt like hours. Rizzo worked quickly, removing 2 tiny black chips from her neck and leg. She's clean now, the vet said. But they'll still search. You need to hide her. Jackson nodded. Can she be moved? She shouldn't be. But if you wait, they might take her again. Jackson looked at her. She was resting now. Peaceful, like she'd been waiting for someone to finally care. I'll take her to my place, he said. No one will find her there. Rizzo handed him a small bag. Antibiotics, clean wraps, pain patches, and hope. Jackson smiled faintly. Thank you, old man. Rizzo put a hand on his shoulder. You did more than most would ever dare. Jackson lifted her again carefully this time. Like cradling something precious. She stirred against his chest, her voice barely a whisper. Safe. He froze. What did you say? Her lips moved again. Safe. Now. He swallowed hard. Yeah, you are. And with that, he stepped out into the night, not knowing the galaxy was already watching, not knowing this girl's secrets could shake worlds. Before she opened her eyes, she cried. Not loud, not strong. Just one soft sound like a broken bird in a storm. Jackson froze. He had just finished setting her down on the old couch in his small workshop apartment. The rain still fell outside. The room was warm, quiet. Safe, but that sound had hit him harder than any scream. A tear slipped down her cheek. He knelt beside her, confused and worried. Her eyes were closed, but her lips moved again. A soft whisper escaped, no words. Just air and emotion. She's dreaming, Jackson thought, or remembering something. He touched her hand gently. She didn't pull away. Her skin, once cold, now felt warmer. The fever was going down. The vet's medicine was working, but her heart, that was still broken. He stayed beside her most of the night. Sometimes she trembled. Sometimes she whispered things in a strange alien tongue. And once, just once, she whispered a word that sounded almost human. Mom. Jackson looked away. Something in his chest twisted. Whoever she was, wherever she came from, she had lost someone. Maybe everything. By morning, her breathing was steady. Jackson opened a can of warm broth and placed it near her. He didn't expect her to eat, but the smell might help. As he turned to clean his tools, he heard a soft noise behind him, a cough. He spun around. Her eyes were half open now, glowing faint purple. Her lips were dry. Her throat moved, water. She croaked. He rushed over, lifted her carefully, and brought a cup to her lips. She sipped, slow and weak. Then, her eyes focused on his face. Her whole body tensed. Her hand grabbed his shirt. Don't hurt me, she whispered. I'm not going to hurt you, Jackson said gently. You're safe here. She stared at him like he was a stranger from another world. Then her grip loosened, and she leaned back. Why? She muttered. Why did you help me? Jackson took a slow breath. Because no one else did. She was silent for a long time. Then she looked at her arms, at the scars, at the patchwork of bruises. Her face changed. Pain, fear, shame, they said. I was broken, she said, barely louder than a breath. You're not, Jackson replied. You're just hurt. You can heal. No, they made me wrong. Who made you? She shook her head. Don't know. Don't remember all. But I wasn't born. I was built. Jackson's eyes widened. Built? Like a machine? She shook her head again. Not robot. More like a mix. They mixed things. Different blood. Different bones. She looked at him. I was never supposed to survive. The room went quiet. Only the soft hum of the heater filled the silence. Jackson sat beside her, not knowing what to say. The girl had just told him she wasn't fully alive the way others were. She was made, created, for some unknown reason. "Do you have a name?" he asked. She blinked slowly. "No, they never gave me one." He nodded. "Then I'll call you something, for now." She waited. He looked around the room, then at her eyes glowing faintly like a twilight sky. "Nova," he said. "It means a new light." Her lips curved slightly, not a smile, but not sadness either. "Nova," she whispered. Suddenly, her body shook. Pain returned to her face. Her arms curled. She gasped. Jackson grabbed the medkit. "What is it? What's wrong?" "I don't know," she said, her voice tight. "Inside, it feels like something is waking up." Then it happened. Her skin began to glow just for a moment, not like light, more like energy under the skin. Jackson stepped back, shocked. Nova screamed, not loud, but filled with something ancient, something wild, and then she cried. Tears streamed down her face, and her body went limp again. Jackson knelt beside her and held her hand. "It's okay," he said softly. "You don't have to be strong. Just live. That's enough." Her fingers closed around his. In that moment, she wasn't a science experiment or a discarded project. She was just a girl with no name, no home, no memory. But now she had someone, and maybe that was all she needed to begin healing. The first thing she remembered was fire, not warmth, not comfort, but fire that burned her from the inside out. Nova's body twitched in her sleep. Jackson was sitting nearby, half asleep himself, when she suddenly gasped and shot upright. Her eyes were wide. Her breaths came fast. "No more needles. Please, no more fire," she cried out. Jackson jumped to his feet. "Nova, it's okay. You're safe. It's just a dream." But she didn't hear him. Her body shook. Her hands clawed at her own arms, as if trying to pull something out of her skin. "Stop," she screamed. "It hurts. It hurts." He grabbed her wrists gently but firmly. "Nova, breathe. Listen to me." Her glowing eyes locked onto his, and slowly, her panic faded. She collapsed into his chest, breathing hard. Her voice cracked. "It's coming back. The pain, the place, the fire." Jackson helped her lie back down. He sat beside her as she cried silently. "What did you see?" he asked softly. Nova stared at the ceiling. "They put me in a white room, cold, bright. I was strapped down. They filled me with things, needles, wires, and then the fire started." Jackson frowned. "You mean they injected you with something?" She nodded slowly. "Liquid, black and glowing. When it entered my body, I screamed. My bones felt like they were melting." Jackson clenched his jaw. "Who did this to you?" She shook her head. "I don't know their faces. They wore suits, masks. I was just a thing to them." There was silence between them, heavy, sad. Then Nova spoke again. "There were others. I remember their screams. But one by one, they stopped." Jackson leaned forward. "You mean others like you?" "Yes," she said. "But I was the only one who survived." He stared at her in shock. "They experimented on many," she nodded. "I wasn't the first. I was just the last." Jackson stood up and paced. "The room. Why would they do this? Why create you and then throw you away?" Nova closed her eyes. "Because I failed their final test." "What test?" She shook her head. "I don't know. I blacked out. When I woke up, I was already on the floor outside that clinic." Jackson's mind raced. He knew now Nova wasn't just a victim. She was proof of something secret, something dangerous. And someone out there still wanted her to disappear. Later that day, While Nova rested, Jackson made a call. He contacted an old friend, Dr. Lin, a human geneticist who used to work in alien science labs. When she heard about Nova's condition and her memories, she agreed to visit. Hours later, Dr. Lin entered the workshop carrying a small scanning device. One look at Nova, and her eyes widened. This girl. She's not a normal hybrid, Lin whispered. She's something else. Dr. Lin scanned Nova's blood. Her face went pale. Her DNA is layered, she said slowly. 3 different species, human, Zarn, and something I don't even recognize. Jackson stared. Is that possible? Not naturally, Lin replied. Someone made her. And they didn't just want a mixed species. They were trying to make something new. Nova looked down. Something better? No, Lin said gently. Something stronger. She showed Jackson the data. If this spreads, governments will panic. She's living proof of illegal genetic creation. Jackson's heart sank. Then they're not done hunting her. Dr. Lin nodded. They won't stop. Until she's gone, or locked away forever. Nova looked at both of them. I didn't ask to be born like this. Jackson knelt beside her. You don't have to prove anything. You just have to live. Nova shook her head. But I'm not safe here. I'm putting you in danger. I don't care, Jackson said. They left you to burn. I won't. Nova's lips trembled. For the first time, she looked less like a broken lab subject, and more like a girl finding hope. That night as Nova lay in bed, she whispered to herself, I remember the fire. But I also remember his voice. Her hand rested over her heart, and for the first time, something feels warm again. It started with a strange silence. No birds, no street sounds. Not even wind, just a quiet that made Jackson's skin crawl. He stood at the window of his small apartment, coffee in hand. Morning light was rising across the metal rooftops. Inside, Nova was asleep on the couch, wrapped in a blanket. Her breathing was soft and steady. Then, something moved across the far rooftop, a black shadow. Jackson narrowed his eyes. It wasn't a bird. It was too slow, too focused, too careful. He set his coffee down. Quietly, his instincts honed from years living near the border. Zones told him someone was watching them. Downstairs, a black vehicle stopped near the old vet clinic. 2 figures stepped out. Both wore long coats. One held a scanner. The scanner beeped once. Then again. Faster. Signal's weak, said the taller figure. But it's close. The shorter one glanced at a hologram of Nova's face. Target is alive. Confirmed. Orders are clear. Recover or erase. They started walking toward Jackson's block. Inside the apartment, Nova stirred. She sat up suddenly, her eyes flashing. They're close. Jackson turned to her. How do you know? I don't know, she said. But I can feel them. Her hands were shaking. Her skin glowed faintly like before. Jackson grabbed the emergency bag he had packed days ago. Food, water, first aid, tools. We need to go, now. Nova stood, wobbling slightly. Where? Anywhere but here, Jackson said. They exited through the back stairwell, Jackson helping Nova down each step. Above them, the black-coated agents entered the building's front door. They were here, one said, scanning the air. She's moving. Seal the exits, the other ordered. Now. Jackson and Nova reached the alley. A loud click echoed behind them. A drone hovered overhead. Run! Jackson shouted, pulling Nova behind a dumpster. The drone fired a pulse shot missing by inches. Sparks flew. Nova gasped, grabbing her side. My blood! It's reacting again. What does that mean? I don't know, she cried. But I think it's trying to protect me. Jackson took out a flare grenade from the bag. He waited for the drone to get closer, then tossed it into the air. Boom! Light exploded in every direction, blinding the drone. They ran through the smoke. Blocks away, They ducked into an old train tunnel along abandoned, dark, and cold. Jackson helped Nova sit on a bench made of stone and rusted metal. She was sweating. Her body glowed slightly in the dark. Your blood. That's what they're tracking, he realized. Nova nodded weakly. The signal. It's inside me. We need to erase it, Jackson said. Now. He opened the medkit. Pulled out a scalpel and a pain patch. Nova looked at him and nodded. Do it. Jackson found the chip embedded under her right shoulder. Tiny, dark, still blinking faintly. He placed the patch over her skin. This will numb the pain. Then he cut carefully. Nova bit her lip, fists clenched. After a moment, Jackson pulled out the chip and crushed it under his boot. Done. Nova fell back, exhausted but smiling faintly. They won't find us. Now. But deep in the shadows of the tunnel, someone had already found them, a third figure. A different one. Not from the recovery team, not from any government, but someone else who had been watching her all along. He whispered into his cum. The subject has activated. Her blood responded to danger. The prototype is evolving, just like we predicted. Far away, in a hidden lab, lights flickered on. A voice spoke. Through a speaker. Bring her in, alive at any cost. Back in the tunnel, Jackson looked at Nova as she drifted to sleep again. He had thought the worst was over, but now the real hunt had just begun. Jackson didn't mean to discover it. He had cut his hand on sharp metal while repairing the heater. In the tunnel hideout, it was deep, bleeding fast. He cursed it under his breath and went to the med-kit. Nova saw the blood dripping from his palm. Let me try, she said, her voice still weak but steady. Jackson shook his head. You need rest. You're the one they're after. But she gently touched his hand with her fingers. The moment her skin met his, the wound began to close. Not in hours. Not in minutes. In seconds. Jackson pulled back, stunned. What? What just happened? Nova stared at his hand just as shocked. I didn't know it could do that. You healed me. That cut was deep. I didn't try. It just happened. Jackson sat down, heart racing. This is why they made you. Nova looked down. I was meant to heal soldiers, or maybe create them. Later that night, Jackson sent another urgent message to Dr. Lin. She arrived the next day with a portable scanner and 2 full data drives. After running a few tests, she stared at the screen for a long time, silent. What is it? Jackson asked. Lin looked at Nova, then back at the screen. Her blood doesn't just heal, she said. It rebuilds. Rebuilds what? Nova asked. Anything, Lin replied. Tissue, organs, nerve cells. It's like her cells know what's broken and fix it like a perfect machine. Nova's eyes widened. But I'm not a machine. No, Lin said gently. You're beyond what machines or medicine can do. Jackson tried to understand. Are you saying she could heal a dying man? Lin nodded. If given enough time. Yes. What about someone in a coma? Possibly. What about she could save lives no one else could? Lin said. That's why they want her. Not for who she is, but for what's inside her. Nova looked away. I didn't choose this. I know, Lin said. But now the whole galaxy will want it. Governments, gangs, black markets. Jackson stood. We're leaving. But Lin raised a hand. Wait, there's more. She opened a second file. Showed DNA charts. She's not just a mix of species. She's part human, but not originally. Jackson blinked. What does that mean? Lin took a breath. Her DNA has traces of a woman who disappeared 20 years ago. A human scientist who worked in illegal biotech labs. Nova looked up. My mother? Maybe, Lin said. Or the original donor. Whoever she was, they used her to create you. Nova clutched her blanket. Her voice shook. So I was made in a lab. From someone who never knew me? Yes. Lynn said softly. But you're not a failure, Nova. You're proof that something good still came from something terrible. Suddenly, Jackson's comm device beeped. He checked the signal and his face went pale. They're scanning again, he said. Sector 5, that's close. Lynn stepped back. Then this place isn't safe anymore. Nova stood up slowly. We need to run again. But Jackson shook his head. No, this time we're not just running. He looked at Lynn. You said she could help people, right? Yes. Then we find someone who will protect her for that reason, not use her. Lynn nodded. There's one place. A hidden research base. Neutral ground. Scientists who escaped the war. If anyone would protect her, it's them. Where is it? Nova asked. Lynn hesitated. Far, across 3 sectors, past outlaw zones. Jackson looked at Nova. You up for it? She took his hand. As long as you don't leave me. Never. Outside, the scanners hummed in the air. Inside, Nova's blood held a truth powerful enough to change medicine, war, and life itself. But in the wrong hands, it could end worlds. And now, the race to protect her had truly begun. Asterisk, they offered him everything. Power, wealth, a place in history. All he had to do was give her up. The ship hovered silently above the canyon base coated in silver, marked with no symbols. Not military, not pirates. Something in dash between. Inside, Jackson stood facing 3 figures in suits, cold smiles. Sharp eyes. Behind him, Nova waited bandaged, quiet, watching with wide glowing eyes. You've done well, human, the woman in the center said. You kept her alive. You protected the asset. She's not an asset, Jackson said calmly. She's a person. The woman's smile didn't fade. Call her what you want. But her blood can change everything. She can heal armies, reverse age, cure death. She stepped forward. Imagine what humanity could gain. We'll give you land, credits, rank. We'll even name you the savior of 2 species. Jackson didn't blink. What do you want in return? The smile sharpened. Her. Nova stepped forward slowly. They'll put me in a lab again. I'll never see the sky. Jackson turned to her. You don't have to say anything. I do, she whispered. You saved me when everyone else walked away. I won't be angry if you trade me for peace. I would, Jackson said, because you're not mine to trade. He looked at the 3 agents. Tell your bosses. No deal. The room fell quiet. Then the woman laughed softly. You really believe one human can fight us? No, Jackson said, but one human can say no, and sometimes. That's enough. Suddenly, lights flickered. Sirens blared from the far edge of the base. Lynn's voice came through the comm. Jackson, they're launching drones. Get her. Out now, Jackson grabbed Nova's hand. Time to run again. But Nova stood still. No, she said. No more running. Her body began to glow stronger than before. Energy pulsed from her skin. I'm tired of being afraid. The suits backed away. What's she doing? She's activating, one of them said. We didn't finish her programming. This is unstable. Nova's voice was calm. I won't hurt anyone. But I won't go back. Her glow softened. The energy faded, but her eyes burned with strength. I'm not your tool. I'm not your cure. I'm just me. Jackson stepped beside her. The suits knew then. They had lost her. She belongs to no one, Jackson said. That's the human way. Hours later, as the ship disappeared in retreat, the wind returned to the canyon. Nova sat by a rock, looking at the stars. They'll keep coming, she said quietly. Jackson nodded. Then we'll keep moving, or we build something new. Somewhere no one can touch us. She looked at him. Why did you do all this for me? He smiled. Because someone should have, and if not me, then who? She leaned her head on his shoulder. You gave me more than life, she whispered. You gave me choice. He put an arm around her. Then let's choose our future. Together, and in the dark corners of space. The story of the girl with healing blood and the human who said no to power began to spread, not as a warning, but as a legend.